The ultimate news portal for the Philadelphia Phillies is on the air, bringing you everything about Philly's most traditional franchise.
Stay tuned for behind-the-scenes trade rumors and analysis of the big plays because our bulletin starts right now.
A rough stretch turned Bryce Harper's frustration into a public storyline, but Philadelphia's front office never treated it as a rebellion. The Phillies entered the second half at 54-43. Then the season tilted in the wrong direction. A 3-10 run followed, back-to-back series slipped away, and the pressure surrounding the roster became impossible to ignore. Harper responded the way franchise players often do when they believe a team is running out of time. He said Philadelphia needed help. That comment created tension on the surface. Manager Don Mattingly appeared concerned that a public demand for reinforcements could affect the players already inside the clubhouse. His point was that roster construction belongs to the front office, and that outside pressure does not always reflect the organization's full plan. Dave Dombrowski saw the situation differently. The Phillies president of baseball operations said he did not interpret Harper's words as personal and did not believe the star was trying to attack the front office. In Dombrowski's view, losing can push players to speak emotionally, especially when a larger objective is obvious. Harper wanted the team to improve. Dombrowski wanted the team to improve. That made the disagreement far less important than it initially appeared. The timing made the story feel larger because Philadelphia did, in fact, make significant moves. The Phillies added Luis Arraez, Caleb Killian, and Brooks Raley, with Arraez serving as the centerpiece of the deadline activity. But Dombrowski's explanation makes clear that those moves were not a reaction to one frustrated sentence. The organization had already been evaluating its needs, its weaknesses, and its postseason chances. The trade deadline was part of the front office's job, not a referendum on whether Harper had won an argument. That distinction matters. A star asking for help can be interpreted in two completely different ways. It can sound like a lack of faith in teammates, or it can sound like an acknowledgement that the current roster needs reinforcement to survive October. Dombrowski chose the second interpretation, and Harper's behavior after the trade supported it. When Arraez arrived, Harper moved back to right field and gave up his place in the infield. That was not the action of a player trying to protect his personal role at the expense of the team. It was a practical sacrifice designed to make the new lineup fit more naturally. He wanted the addition to work. That move also revealed what Harper's comments were really about. He was not necessarily demanding that Philadelphia replace the existing roster. He was asking the organization to increase its chances of winning. There's a difference between believing a team is inadequate and believing a contender should use every available opportunity to become stronger. The Phillies are operating in a narrow competitive window. A 3-10 stretch can change the mood around a clubhouse, but it can also expose problems that were already present. Bullpen depth, lineup balance, defensive alignment, and the ability to handle a long postseason all become more urgent when the standings tighten. Philadelphia's deadline moves address several of those concerns. Arraez brought offensive versatility and another difficult at-bat into the lineup. Raley added experience to the relief corps. Killian was intended to provide another pitching option, although his arrival was quickly complicated by an oblique injury. The results were not perfectly clean, but the direction was clear. The Phillies believed the roster needed more support. That belief did not originate with Harper alone. Dombrowski also pushed back against the idea that the front office should be offended whenever a player publicly expresses concern. Baseball executives must separate emotion from information. A frustrated comment may not be delivered perfectly, but can still point to a legitimate competitive issue. The important question is not always, why do the players say that? Sometimes it is there something behind the frustration that deserves attention? Dombrowski appears to have focused on the second question. Mattingly's concern, however, was not meaningless. Players who are already on a roster can feel dismissed when a star publicly calls for outside additions. A trade can introduce better talent, but it can also create uncertainty about roles, playing time, and whether the organization believes the current group is good enough. That is the balance a manager has to protect. The front office sees the roster in terms of contracts, matchups, market value, and postseason probability. Players often experience the roster through trust, routine, and personal responsibility. Both perspectives can be valid at the same time. Harper's willingness to change positions may have helped bridge that gap. Instead of treating Arraez's arrival as a threat, he treated it as a tool. He adjusted his own role so Philadelphia could maximize a new addition, and that choice made the broader message easier to understand. This was not Harper versus the Phillies. It was Harper pushing the Phillies toward the same target the front office was already pursuing. Dombrowski made that target explicit: the World Series. That is why he did not want the organization to remain trapped in the wording of Harper's original comment. Once the intent was clear, continuing to frame the situation as a feud became unnecessary. The standings now make the situation even more urgent. Philadelphia sits second in the NL East at 64-57 and is tied with Arizona and San Diego for the National League's second wild card position. That is not a comfortable position for a team with championship ambitions. The Phillies are close enough to the postseason to control their own story, but not far enough ahead to relax. Every series carries greater weight, and every bullpen issue or lineup decision can influence where the team reaches October with momentum, or arrives having spent the final weeks fighting simply to qualify. Harper's message then was less about panic than timing. He understands that a talented roster can still run out of chances. Dombrowski understands that deadline decisions must serve the entire season, not just one bad week. Mattingly understands that the players who remain in the clubhouse must believe they are part of the solution. Those viewpoints briefly collided in public, but the organization's response suggests they were never truly moving in opposite directions. The real test comes next. If Philadelphia's additions help stabilize the roster and the Phillies secure a playoff spot, Harper's comments will look like a moment of urgency from a leader who recognized the stakes. If the team continues to struggle, the same remarks may be revisited as evidence that the problems were deeper than one trade could solve. That is the risk of speaking publicly during a losing streak. The words can become a story of their own. For now, Dombrowski has removed the personal angle. The Phillies did not acquire help because Bryce Harper embarrassed the front office. They acquired help because a contender with a 64-57 record, a tight wild card race, and a World Series goal had legitimate reasons to improve. And Harper's decision to move back to right field may have said more than his original comment ever could. He is not asking for a better roster, so he can stand apart from it. He is asking for one strong enough to win with.